Hi everyone, Salesforce Development Day 80. Let's see what are we going to learn today. So today previous session overview. We'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about one of the use case and how the Apex code flow logic works and what is the conditional statements, and we'll see the if condition, simple if condition, if else condition, else if condition, nested if condition, and switch statement. And we'll have a conclusion, quiz, homework, and interview questions. Okay, quickly. What did we learn in last class?
Collection data type.
Collection data.
List.
What are the collection data types?
List, set, and map.
Yeah. So today we'll focus on conditional statement, which is very important. It seems like a very easy, but in real time we use this every day, almost whenever we wanted to implement a program. So let's take a simple use case. So write a Apex program to perform the mathematical operation on the two numbers. Assume that I have a first number and I have a second number. And by taking these two numbers, I wanted to perform additional subtraction, multiplication, division, and assume that modification, right? Math.mod. So that I wanted to do this logic. So we have only input numbers are two numbers, first number, second number. By taking this, we would like to perform additional subtraction, multiplication, division. Let's take this four. Now, usually how we write it? If I wanted to write it, usually how do we write? Like I should have a two numbers. I should have a two numbers, right? So that means I should be declaring the integer first number. Let's write into the developer console. Let's open the developer console. So in developer console, let's open the debug, open execute anonymous window. Okay. So I needed two numbers, integer, first number, and then I need one more integer, second number. These two variables are input. These two are input variables. Now, the use case is I need an additional, I need a subtraction result, I need multiplication and a division. Now, in this case, what I'll do usually, we need another variable to store the value. So let's say integer result. Now what I'll do, result equal to, what are the first number plus second number. This is for addition. This is normal. For the subtraction, same thing, I'll use it. Instead of addition, I use a minus. No, multiplication, instead of a plus, I'll use a multiplication. And the division, I use it instead of the plus, I'll use the division. Right, for the math mode. So let's take this. So math dot mod, first number and second number. Okay. So if we are not clear what is this doing it, we'll see that later. Assume that these are the four things are there. These are four. Now, whenever the addition is there, Let's print the value system.debug. And I wanted to print the value addition result. This is the additional result. So let's say result. Similarly, for the subtraction, multiplication, division. This is a subtraction, multiplication, and then division. So this is in general. So for whatever we have learned, this is what we have learned. So if I try to execute this, let's give a number to this. First number equal to 100 and second number equal to 40. So if I try to execute this, what will happen? It will give me the output of all of them. It will give output of all of them. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Now this is, right now it is working fine. Right now it is working fine. Assume that these two, what are the variables we have here? These two variables are, right now we are defining here. Assume that the value is coming from user. The value is coming from user. Now let's suppose if user has entered instead of 40, they have entered here 0. Now what will happen for the first one result? It will work. And for the second one, it will work. So let me execute first three. So I have just changed the second number to 0. Assume that user has entered the second number 0. Click on. So let me execute the addition and subtraction. Execute the highlighted one. Debug, which works perfectly fine. But there is an issue here when I'm running the division. When I'm running the division, that time what will happen? It will give me the exception. It will give me the exception because the second number user has entered the 0. User has entered the 0. Now user will not see an exception. User work is entered and clicked on the button. Assume that there is a, in form, we have a two numbers. One is the first number and the enter second number. There is a submit button. Now their work is done. Once they have clicked on the submit button, their work is done. But at the back end, what is happening? It's giving me the exception error. There is a difference in the error and the exception. The error is, sometimes we see the errors, right? And this is what it says exception. Here it is saying the exception. It is not saying the error. So there is a difference in error and exception in Salesforce. Now let's see, taking by example of this. Now let's understand what is the exception, what is the error, what are the differences between the error and exception. When do I see error and when do I see an exception? Now, so right now, assume that developer has written the code. So in Salesforce, whatever the developer is writing the code, we say that it's a source code. Whatever the code that we are writing, the developers are writing here, we call that as a source code because that is the code which is going to work whenever the client hit something or clicked on the button or whenever we are executing any logic. So through this source code, the logic gets executed. Now developer has written the source code and they clicked on a save button. They clicked on a save button. When they click on a save button, what will happen? The first thing, it will execute the compilation. The first thing, it will verify the compilation. So Apex has its own compiler. Apex has its own compiler called Apex compiler. every programming language has their own compiler. Like Java has a different compiler, right? SAP has a different compiler, .NET has a different compiler. Like that, Salesforce also has a Apex compiler. So what it does, first it is going to verify the code. What are the logic is written? What are the source code is written? So this compilation is going to cross-verify the data, whether it is written properly or not. In case if I see any error, if compiler sees any error, if compiler find there is some syntax or a spelling mistake issue is there, right? Now that time, what it does is if it is all good, then fine. But it is, for example, let's assume that there is an error. In case there is an error, then it will give the compilation error. That is the error, compilation error. So what are the things it is going to cross-verify during the compilation? The main 2 points it is going to cross-verify. One is syntactical mistake, if there is any spelling mistake or not. If there is any spelling mistake or not, or if it is a lack of any system resource, or if there is any issue with the system resource. So these two conditions, mostly we see the compilation error whenever we write an incorrect error. Like for example, right now, it is giving me the exception, but let's say that if I change this, right? If I change this. So immediately it will give that error, which is expected. This is anonymous. This is expected because this is not valid. If I try to execute in the Apex, immediately when I'm saving it, it gives me error. So that is the expected one. But let's assume that everything is perfect. When it is everything is perfect, what it does, it basically sends the information. But whenever the compilation error is there, so what will happen? It will send, that means it will not go to the runtime compiler. It basically the code is not yet saved. Whenever there is an error, what will happen? It will send back to the developer saying that you need to fix that code. Before processing anything on this, after this, whatever the logic is there, if I wanted to process this logic, first it need to cross the compilation error. If there is any compilation, like a syntactical mistake or a lack of system resource or any spelling mistakes or anything are there, so what it does, it will send an information to the developer. So it will give the hint to the developer that you need to change the code before we process anything on this. So now assume that the changes are good. So developer has made changes and it went to the Apex compiler, everything is perfect. So now once it is perfect, there are no issues, that means no compilation error. So it goes to the Apex runtime. We have another here, which is called Apex runtime. So during the Apex runtime, that means the logic is written, the code has written correctly. There is no syntax errors, nothing is there. The line of code is written perfectly. Now it went to the runtime. So Apex runtime cross verifies everything. Now, if there are any issue during the Apex runtime, what will happen? It will execute the code and it shows the exception error, which are unexpected. During the runtime, whatever the errors that I'm getting, those are exception errors. We call it as a runtime error also. In other language, we call runtime error. So here we get an exception error. These exception errors are unexpected. Exception errors are unexpected. That means the runtime, during the runtime, three things it is going to cross-verify majorly. And it will give the exception if there is any wrong logic has written. A wrong logic has written. Now in our scenario, we have written everything perfectly fine, right? We have written everything perfectly fine. But when I'm executing this, now for the second number 0, when I'm executing this first number by second number, it's a logic is incorrect. Logic is incorrect. So due to the wrong logic, you will see the exception error, or else if there is any input, invalid input value. Input value is expected integer, but user is giving a string, or user is giving a decimal, or user is giving a something different value. So in that case, it will give the exception error. The logic is right, but the input values that are provided by the user is incorrect. Or else the exception error happens due to missing the values for the required fields. If there are any required fields whenever I'm creating the account, right? During the creation of account, we have some mandatory fields. In case if user is not entering some required fields data, which is very important to play the logic, in that case, we will see the exception error, right? We see the exception error. So assume that it's not in UI, we have anyway required, but we have written a logic. One of the field is playing a major role. One of the field value is playing a major role. That means that value has to be entered. That value has to be entered, but it's not showing as a required on the UI, but it is required from the Apex side. So in that case, user has not entered the value. So in case if user entered minus or 0, anything, in that case, it is missing the values for the required fields. Now, whenever we get an exception, compilation error, we can handle it. It's all with us, how to write the code. It's all with developer hand, how best you can write the code in order to resolve the compilation error. But when I get an exception error, so there are two ways which we can solve the exception errors. The first one is a conditional statement and the second one is an exception handling. First one is a conditional statement and the second one is an exception handling. By using these two, we can avoid seeing the exception errors or runtime errors. So today we are going to focus on the conditional statements. Any question till this point? Okay, so today we are going to see the conditional statements. So conditional statement, as you might be heard for the different programming language. So Apex provided the 3 conditional statements. One is if condition, switch statement. Sorry, 2 conditional statements, if condition and switch statement. So these are the if condition and switch statement. These are very much used in the real time. These are used very much in the real time. Whenever you are writing any logic in using the Apex, whenever you write any logic using the Apex, mostly 98% we use a if condition. We use if condition and maximum maybe 70% or 50% or 40%, we will use the switch statement. When you have a multiple condition, there are so many conditions are there. That time we use a switch statement. Now we'll see what is the if condition and what is the switch statement here. Now, if condition, by using this if condition, we can add one or more user defined conditions to be get verified before executing the statement. Before executing the statement, I can cross verify in the condition. So that means here we have some issue, right? Here, this division is having an issue. Now I can add a condition. If condition, I can add it, and based on that condition, it is going to execute. So what will happen if I add a condition? If the condition is satisfied, if the what are the conditions are satisfied, I can write a one condition or a multiple condition. There is a no limit into that. So if conditions are satisfied, then it will execute the true statement. It will execute true statement. Else, it will go to the skip the execution of the statement. By using the if condition, we can change the control flow of the program execution. That means if the condition is true, then only go inside. Otherwise, don't go inside. So if condition provides below 4 formats. So if has a simple if condition, if else condition, else if condition, and nested if condition. If conditions are provided, 4 of them. So simple if, you can write a if condition, which is a very simple, straightforward. You can write a if condition, which is a if else condition. You can implement a if condition, which is a else if condition. You can implement a if condition, which is a nested if condition. All of them we use it in the Apex. All of them we use it in the Apex, and you will be, whenever you are doing the coding, you will be using this. Now, simple if condition is which is straightforward. Each condition should follow the syntax. So variable, operator, what operator is there, then value. If this is satisfied, then execute it. If that is satisfied, execute it. So syntax is if condition and then execute the statement. That's it. So that means I have some condition here. I have some condition. And then if the condition is true, then only execute the statement. Simple one, there is nothing much, only one condition, one if condition will be there. Within this if condition, you can write a multiple, like a equal to 3 and B equal to 4 and C equal to 5 and D equal to 13. So you can give multiple conditions, but if condition should be only one. If it is a true, then execute it. Similar like if rating equal to hot, if industry equal to finance, if phone not null, and industry equal to, if industry equal to banking and annual revenue is greater than 20,000. So you can add multiple conditions within the if. Now, in our case, we need a if condition before the division. We need a if condition before the division. So what I'll do is I'll add a if condition here. If second number is greater than 0. If the second number is greater than 0, then only go ahead and execute these two statements. Then only go ahead and execute these two statements. Now it will execute. So it will take the second number, first number it will take. This works perfectly fine. 100 plus 0, there is no issue. 100 minus 0, no issue. 100 multiplication of 0, no issue. Now it will come here. It will check the variable. And what is the variable value? 0. So 0 greater than 0, which is not satisfied. Now I can execute this entire code, and my code right now, it will not give any exception errors. So before we were seeing the exception error, right? So right now we cannot see any exception error. So the code will be executed without any issue. Now the logic has been executed, right? So it is giving the addition, subtraction, multiplication, but I'm not getting the division. So the logic has not executed because the second number which we have given greater than 0. Any questions, whoever new to the programming, any questions onto this? Okay. So this is simple if condition. Now, if else condition. If else condition is basically, now what is happening, user has entered the first number and the second number, and they have clicked on a submit button. Here they have entered some 100, and the second number they have entered 0, and they clicked on a submit button. Right? Assume that they have clicked on the division button. They have clicked on division button. So when they clicked on the division button, they are not receiving any error because we handled perfectly in the code. In the code, it is handled very perfectly because I have written here, if the second number is greater than 0, then don't greater than 0, then only go inside. If it is 0 or less than 0, do not go inside of this condition. Now, when they clicked on the division button, when user clicked on this button, user is not getting any error. It says that it is working fine. The execution is happened, everything is fine. Apex compiler is executed, Apex runtime is executed, everything is perfectly done, and there is no errors for the users, for the developers also. Now, is it a right way for the user to build this application? For user, it is required some information here. It should be assume that we should print some system.debug. I should print that some value saying that we cannot perform a division where the second number is 0. I cannot perform the division where the second number is 0. Some information I need to give here, right? So which is not possible here, which is not possible. Now, in order to implement this, whenever there is a second number is 0, don't run the logic, but give the some input to user that we cannot do the calculation of the division calculation whenever the second number is 0. We cannot do that. So that hint we have to give it. So in order to implement that hint, so what we need a if-else condition. If-else. One step further we are moving on. So assume that I have a condition, second number. Let's take a second number. If it is a greater than 0, then perfectly execute the statement. If it is not a greater than 0, if it is not greater than 0, execute the statement 2. Whatever the else statement is there, execute the else statement. So syntax is if conditions, what are the conditions you wanted to write? You can add one condition, multiple conditions, and within this you can write the statement in case if the if condition is not valid or it is not qualified, then go to the else condition, and within the else condition we can execute the statement. So this is if else statement or if else condition. Now here in our scenario, so we have a if condition which we have written. Now let me execute the else statement. So else system.debug. So I can say that we cannot perform the division if second value is 0. Perfect. Now I have added another condition here, else condition. Click on execute. So when I execute it, it will give addition value, subtraction value, multiplication value, and for the division, it is saying that we cannot perform. Now user is getting the output because they realized it, they have entered the second number is 0. So that's the reason they cannot perform the division. Now, any questions on the if else? Okay, so let's take a requirement Write an Apex program to find out the biggest number from the given two numbers. Write an Apex program to find out the biggest number from the given two number. So that means I needed two input variables here. I need two input variables. I need two input variables. And between these two variables, I need to find out which one is the biggest number. That is the requirement here. So let's go ahead and implement that debug. Now let's take now the requirement is write the Apex program. Write the Apex program to find out the biggest number from the given two numbers. Now, yes, tell me, what do I need to do here?
Need to declare numbers.
Two integers.
Integers.
Integer first number.
Integer first number.
Integer second
Integer
number.
second number.
Okay, next.
If
Integer if condition.
first number greater than second number.
First number greater than second number.
Second number. So system.debug.
System.debug, first number is big.
Else second number is greater.
Yeah. So here, if it is if condition is true, let's say first number is the
Biggest number.
Biggest number.
And if condition is false, then second number.
Second number is big.
Now, sometimes this is the declaration which we are doing it. Now, sometimes pure developer does the declaration. Instead of writing into the multiple line, what they will do is they will declare it in the same line. First number, comma, second number. Right? You can declare like this also. That's not an issue. Now, first number, let's suppose, assume the user is giving the 4,500 and the second number is 670. Now user entered the first number 4,500 and second number is 670. Now it will cross check whether it is a first number is greater than second number. Yes, it will print the first number. Now if I say here, what is the output? Will I get it?
Second number.
Second number is the
Second
biggest.
number.
Now let's assume that user is entering the same number. User is entering the same number. First number is same and the second number is also same. Now which value it will come? Which one it will print? The 35th line
second number.
Else.
Second number is
Else
bigger.
part.
Else part. But do you think really the second number is the biggest number?
No.
No.
So that means it is giving the wrong input to the user. It is giving the wrong input to the user. Now, for that, okay, so before moving on, homework, write an Apex program to find out the student result as below. So we have 5 subjects: English, Maths, Physics, Chemistry, Hindi. And 2 conditions here. One condition here. One is if it is a student marks is more than 40, then it should go in the if condition. If it is a less than 40, it should go in the else condition. And homework 2, write an Apex program to find out the bill amount of the customer based on the quantity and unit price. And offer the discount as below. If amount is greater than 10,000, if amount is greater than 10,000, then offer 20% discount. Else, no discount provided to the customer. Any questions on the homework 1 and homework 2?
Like we just need to print offer 20% or like we need to calculate that.
You need to check. No, the discount it should be. So you need to have two values here. One is two variables. One is the quantity and second one is a unit price.
So here we did not have any quantity, right, in the condition.
Yeah, you need to calculate it. You need to calculate and get the bill amount. Bill amount is the output. So if you are getting the bill amount here greater than 10,000, then in the system.debug, print this. Else, print this value. Okay. So let's move on. Next one is a LCIP condition. Next one, LCIP condition, the one which we are discussing about here. In case if we have this, scenario, in order to implement this kind of a scenario, we have to go for LCIP condition. We have to go for LCIP condition. Now, this feature is used to prepare the multiple branches of the condition. Till now, we have seen the simple if, and then we have seen one if condition, one else condition. But if you wanted to go more than one if, one else condition, we call that as a else if condition. So by using this, we can prepare the multiple branches of the condition from which only one branch statement will be executed at a time. So if any of the branch conditions are matching or is satisfied, then it will execute the associated block of the statement. If condition is true, then only whatever the logic has written inside the if condition, the logic will be executed. If all the branches conditions are failed, all of them, every condition is failed, then we should have a else block statement. There should be a final else statement which will execute it if none of the if conditions are true. If none of the if conditions are, now all of them are failed. So in that case, we need to have one else condition which will execute default. So else if is basically I have a if condition here. If condition is true, then it will execute the statement 1. This is simple. This is what we have seen in the if else. Right now we are in else if. Now further moving on it, for this condition, if it is a false, then there is another condition. This condition is going to cross verify. If it is true, then execute the another statement 2. If it is a false, then execute a statement 3. So syntax will be, you will have a if condition, and within this if condition, you can write the statement. This is simple if condition. Now else if I'm writing both of them here. Else if, in the else if condition, you can execute in case if this condition is matching or satisfied, then it will execute the right statement inside the else if. Now you can write multiple else if conditions here. multiple else if conditions, and finally one else will be there, which is a default block statement, Now let's see the requirement here. Now, before going to the requirement, any questions on the else if?
Ma'am, at last you said like else part, right? So if we have done only if else if, like we haven't write any else, like does it give any compilation error or not?
No, it will not give, but user will not get what is happening there.
Yes.
So best practice is to write final else condition so that at least developer also will know that why it is going into the error or why it is not giving the output. Now, write an Apex program to print the season name based on the month number. So for example, I have a month number and season name. So month numbers are between 1st and 4th. Then it should print winter season. Now, if month is between the 5 to 8, from starting of the 5 and then 8, it should print the season, summer season. If the month number is 9, between 9 and 12, from 9 to 12, then it should print spring season. It should print the spring season. If the user is entering below the 1, that means user is entering the 0 month, or user is entering the 15, number 15. In that case, we should say that invalid month number. We should say invalid month number. So let's go ahead and implement this. So 1 to 4 should print winter season. 5 to 8, it should print summer season. 9 to 12, it should print spring season. Now let's go to the developer console. See the names program. Now, yes, tell me how to implement that. How to implement this? How many variables do I need it?
One integer, one string.
One. No, only one.
Why we need a string here?
Only one for the number of months.
Only integer.
Integer only.
Just display the season name.
Integer,
Getting log, okay.
month number.
Month number.
Yes.
If month
What are the
number is
conditions?
month number
Month number. 1 to 4.
Greater than 1, less than or equal to 4.
So it should be greater than or equal to 4 and
Less than or equal to.
less than or equal to 4.
right. So this is one condition. Now another condition.
Else if
Else if
Month number
month number greater than or equal to 5
greater than or equal to 5
and month
and
number
month number
equal
less than or
Nine.
equal to 8.
to 8.
Okay. Now another condition.
Else if
Else if
greater than
9
or
to
equal
12.
to 9.
9 less
Month
than or
number
equal
less
to
than
12.
or equal to 12.
Perfect. Are we done with all the conditions here?
else condition.
Else condition.
Else
more.
print right number.
Else.
Else.
So this is ElseIf format. This is ElseIf. So finally, I wanted to print system.debug. I can say here invalid month number.
Month number.
So we can say to user is please enter the month number. Please enter month number between 1 to 12. Now, if it is a between 1 to 4, what is the season here?
Winter. Winter.
Winter season. And the next one,
Summer.
summer,
Spring.
spring. Now here, if I enter 7, here, if I enter 7, what will happen? It will check the first condition. Will it satisfy the first condition?
No.
No.
So then it will go to the else condition. Will it satisfy the else condition?
Satisfies.
Yes.
Yes.
If it is satisfying it, then it will go to the inside of this code and then execute it, and it will come out of it. It will not execute the rest of the else if condition. It will not execute rest of them. As soon as it is find the result, as soon as it find the matching one, so this else if condition is matching perfectly fine. So what it does, it goes to this code. Then immediately it will come out of these conditions. It will not go to the further. It will not go to the further. So that means if the if condition is true, and then only open and execute this logic. Then only execute this logic.
Swapna, line number 56 space L6.
Sorry.
Line number 56 L6 space.
Yeah. So this is, if I try to execute this logic, it will say that executing the highlighted one, summer season, it will say. Right, summer season. In case if I specify here, in case if I specify minus, or in case if I specify 15, if user is saying that 15, then it will
Invalid number.
invalid.
Invalid month number.
ఏం కర్రీ ఈ మధ్య కొంచెం డిఫరెంట్.
Now this is else if condition. Now homework in the else if condition, write an Apex program to print the month name based on the month number. So month number is, if it is a 1, January should enter January. If it is a 2, should enter the February till 12, right? Like this till the 12. If user is entered 12, then it should be December. Anything the user has entered below 1 or greater than 12, then it should go to the invalid month number. Any questions on homework 3, which is a else if? Okay. So we are going more into little bit harder now. So nested if condition. So nested if condition, by using this feature, we can include, insert an if condition into another if condition. That means I already have a if condition. I already have a if condition. When I already have a if condition, within this, again, I am creating a one more if condition. So on top, I have a if condition. I have already written the if condition here. And then within this, I'm writing one more if condition. I'm writing one more if condition, which is called nested if condition, which is called nested if condition. By using this feature, we can include, insert an if condition into another condition to achieve the complex functionalities. So in case if you have any complexity in the requirement, or if you wanted to implement any complex scenarios, mostly we go with a nested if condition, nested if condition. So example, condition. So I have a condition here. If it is a true, then it will go to the statement. If it is a false, again it goes to the condition. And if it is a true, again it will call another condition. It will call another condition. That means here I have a parent condition. This is parent condition. And in this parent condition, again, I'm verifying one more condition here. And if the condition is true, then it will go to this statement. In case if this condition is not true, then it will go to the false. Now, once this condition is true, then it will check this condition. If this condition is also true, then it will go to the statement. If this condition is false, then what will happen? It will go to the false statement. So false statement everywhere is there. If you do not want to write the false statement, that's okay. Because we have the at the end, else condition will be there. At the end, we'll have a else condition. So it is similar like, for example, in the Amazon, you are selected a product. You have selected a product and you're supposed to bill it. In the Amazon, you went to the bill. So when you selected to pay the amount, when you went there to pay the amount, so what will happen? It will give certain values. Do you want to pay through the credit card? Or do you want to pay through the debit card? Or do you want to pay through the net banking? Or do you want to go with the Amazon Pay or cash on delivery? So what will happen when you are billing the amount, when you are paying the amount, that time it gives you these options. Now, whenever you select any one of them, now all will not be executed here. It will not execute all of them. If you select a net banking, then it will be redirected to a screen where you can enter your net banking credentials. From there, another screen will open where you can pay the amount. Then it will come back to the Amazon, right? And if it is a debit card, in the debit card, it will not open this screen. Whatever the screen you are able to see, it is a different screen for the debit card. For the credit card, again, it is a different screen. For Amazon Pay, it is a different screen. So based on the condition, if user has selected this, that means this condition is true. If assume that the variable which is holding this pick list values are, let's take a bill pay. So, okay, so bill pay is the variable. Now, my condition will be if bill pay equal to net banking, then execute this logic. Whatever the screens are shown to them, execute this logic, this screen, and then execute this screen. If bill pay equal to debit card, then execute the different logic, which is only specific to the debit card. When you click on a debit card, you will not see the net banking code, net banking screen, right? So similarly, we have in Amazon also, they have implemented using this conditional statement. So based on what is the value, right? What is the expression value? What are the user has selected? Is that the value matching with the one of the option in the if condition or not? If it is matching, then execute that code. If it is not matching, then go for another, whatever the selection is there. Now, syntax is if condition, write the statement. If the condition is true, then execute this statement. Now, else condition. In case if the condition is not satisfied, then it will go to the else condition. In the else condition, I'm writing another if condition. Within the else condition, I'm implementing another if condition, and if this condition is true, that means it went to the else condition, and then again I'm checking one more condition within the else condition. If this condition is true, then execute this statement. Execute the statement, else go for the else condition. Else execute this statement. Now within this if condition, no, it is not executed this else condition. Assume that else condition is not true. If condition is satisfied. Now here what I'm saying is, if condition is satisfied, execute this logic. Otherwise, go to the else condition and execute the else condition. And these conditions are sits into the else condition. Now let's take example. This condition is satisfied. This condition is satisfied. If the condition is satisfied, I have another condition within that parent. I have another condition within that. So that means here one else is there, and within that I have one more if condition. Within that again I have written one more if condition, right? So if this is true, then go for this condition. If this is true, then execute this logic. So which is a nested if condition. First verify this, then come here and then verify this condition. If this is also crossed, then verify this condition, then execute the main logic here, which is a nested if. This is used for the complex scenarios in the Apex. So let's take a requirement. So write an Apex program to find out the student result and display the grades. Whatever the student results are there, based on that display the grade. Assume that they have 5 subjects. They have 5 subjects. Every student has 5 subjects: English, Hindi, math, physics, chemistry. Now, we need to calculate the total marks. Whatever the each one they are getting it, we need to calculate the total marks of the student. We need to calculate the total marks of the student. Now we need to find out from here, the conditional statement starts here, from the nested if starts from here. Find out the student result. If it is a pass, if the student got more than 40 marks in each subject. If they got more than 40 marks in each subject, then print the student result and total marks. What are the total marks are there? Print that. Now else. Now if it is a failed, if the student got a less than 40 marks in any of the subject, then we need to print the student result and total marks. Now this is a normal if-else condition. This is normal if-else condition. Now within this pass, I have some more conditions which I need to verify. We need to calculate the average marks of the student and find out the student grade. Student grade we have to find out based on this average marks. This is the first condition, and we have another condition here. Average marks says if it is greater than or equal to 60, then we should show the grade A. If it is greater than 50 and less than 60, then we should show grade B. If the student got a greater than or equal to 40 and less than 50, then it is a grade C. It is a grade C. So we have a multiple conditions here on the pass, whereas a fail, we have a just one condition. In the fail, we just need to print the value. We need not to do any calculation there. If the student is passed, then only we have a calculation. Otherwise, we do not have any calculation. Any question on this requirement? Okay, so let's go ahead and implement that. So student total marks and then grade. So this is, we are going to write the program. Now, yes, tell me, what do I need to do in order to implement that requirement?
Every subject's marks first.
Integer, math,
Subject to maths.
integer, what all subjects they have? Hindi,
Hindi.
integer,
English,
integer,
physics, chemistry.
perfect. Now we have all the subjects here. All the subjects are here. Now let's calculate the total value itself. In order to calculate the total value, I'll say that total marks
Total marks.
maths plus Hindi plus English plus physics chemistry. Now I have the total marks also. Now the next scenario which I need to do is, first I need to verify, is the student got more than 40 marks in each subject? I need to cross verify. The student got more than 40 marks in each subject. Now, that is the first condition. So I need to verify the,
If every subject marks maths greater than 40, first what here?
every subject I need to cross verify. And English equal to 40. And then physics 40, chemistry 40. Now this is one if condition. Now that is the first condition. And the second condition is if less than 40 marks in any of the subject. In any of the subject, 40 marks is there, then print the.
Fail value.
So what I'll do is simply I'll put the else condition here. So in the else condition, I'll just print the system.out. You got failed. Better luck next time. And then we have to print the total marks also. Whoever is failed, total marks. Then I'll say here, I have a total marks. Perfect. So my else condition is done. I need not to do anything on the else condition. Whatever this second part else condition is there, this is done. Now I need to work on this part. I need to work on this part. So if first if condition is done, if condition is done, then print the student result and total marks. So let's go ahead and print the student marks. Now here, this is the student marks, and I'll also give here congratulations. You got passed. right? Perfect. So this is done. I'm printing the total marks and I'm updating the user that you have passed. So the first line is done. What are the within the if condition? Print the student result and total marks. This is done. Calculate the average marks of the student. This is done. We have already calculated. Now the next thing we need to find out is find out the student grade. I need to check each student. I need to check each student total marks. Each student average marks here. It's not a total marks, it's an average marks. Now we have done the total here. Total marks is done. Right? So from the total marks, I need to identify the average marks. Now I need to do this. This is not done. Calculate the average marks of the student. So first, let's do the average marks of the student. So how to implement the average marks of the student?
Divide by subject, number of subjects.
So integer, no. Total, what are the total is there?
Integer average marks equals to total marks divided by
Total marks by 5.
divided by
Okay, so this is the calculation of the
average marks.
average marks. Now here, one thing, whenever we are doing anything like this integer, whenever we are doing initialization within the if condition, do not do the initialization within the if condition, which is not a best practice. Always initialize, always do the initialization on top. Do not do within the if condition, do not do within the else condition, no. Always initialization has to be on top. Now we got the average marks. And now once we got the average marks, we need to find out this. This means this I need to write the another condition here. I need to write another condition to check what is the average marks result. So based on this, I need to give here grade A, grade B, grade C. Now, within this, we have a if condition, average marks, yes, greater than or equal to 60. Then
Grade A.
system.debug. We need to print the grade A. Else, observe the line of code, what I'm writing here. Else, average marks greater than or equal to 50 and which is a
less than 60.
system.debug grade B. Else if average marks is greater than or equal to 40 and just
Less than 50.
system.debug grade C. So now if you observe this line of code, whatever I have written from the 83 to 88, what are the lines that I have written here? What is the differently that I have written compared to till now, whatever I have done?
Remove
braces.
brackets.
Curly braces not mentioned.
Curly braces I have not given. So whenever you have a single line of code, whenever you have a single line of code, you need not to put the curly braces. If you have a more than one line, then you need to add the curly braces. Right now, I do not need the curly braces because I'm just writing a single line. I'm just writing a single line. So the execution will happen. So it will cross verify the student got a greater than or equal to 40. It will print this value. Then we are calculating the average marks. Then we are checking the average marks is greater than 60. If the user if the student got greater than 60, then it will go to this line. Otherwise, it will go to the else condition. In the else condition, it will cross verify this condition. If this is true, then it will go to it will print this line. Now, in case this is also not true, then what will happen? It will go to the else condition. It will go to and cross verify this condition. If this is a true, then it will execute this line. That's it. So that means within the if condition, I have only one line. I have only one line. So that's the reason I have not written the curly braces. Curly braces are not required if you have a one value. Now let's give some values here. 72, 82, 69, 74, chemistry, 54, 41. Oh, average marks, okay. So this is the logic. Now let me execute this. Now, click on execute the highlighted one. Now when I executed the highlighted one, let's click on debug. Now, the first thing it has given that you have passed. That means first if condition is satisfied. Now, the second one is total marks. That means in between this, we are calculating the average marks. And then we have a average marks printing it. What are the total marks is there that we are printing. So based on this, we are printing the grade A or grade B. Grade A or grade B. Now let's say that one of the user has got, and one of the student got, let's take this 39. Now if I execute it, it will go to the else condition. What are the main part of the else condition is there. So it will say you got failed, better luck next time, total marks is 336. Right? Now, right now we have given here, you can give any number, the total one, what are the numbers are there. Now, any questions till this point on the nested if? Okay. Now, homework 4, write an Apex program for Indian Railway ticket program using the nested if else statement. So that means when you are taking a ticket, they will ask your age or they will cross verify, right? If age is less than or equal to 5, that means the message should come, you have 100% discount on your ticket. If age is less than or equal to 12, that means you have a 50% discount on your ticket. If it is a less than or equal to 26, you have a 10% discount on your ticket. If it is a greater than 16, then you have a 25% discount on your ticket. Now user is entering the 0 or less than 1, then it should say that you are not allowed to travel. This is homework 4 for the nested if condition. Next one is write an Apex program to know you are eligible to work using the nested if else condition. Are you eligible or not? So if you say less than 18, you are a minor, not eligible to work. If it is a greater than 18 and less than or equal to 60, you are eligible to work. Else you are too old to work as per the government result. Any questions on this homework 4 and 5?
Ma'am, can you please go to previous slide?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine. Any questions before I move on? No. We have so far, we have seen if else conditions, right? We have seen the if condition, right? We have seen the if condition. And if it is true, then execute something. Otherwise, go to the else if condition. If execute this, go for it. Otherwise, go for else if condition. We have written like this so far. We have written like this so far. Now assume that there is a very complicated in the scenario, we have to write multiple if else condition and then finally one else condition. Now, we are writing here if condition, else, else, if, then finally else. Now, because of this, what will happen? Assume that there is a logic which is meeting the criteria here. Which is meeting the criteria here. So what will happen? It should execute this one, this one, this one, this one, all the condition it needs to be verified. If I have written 10 conditions in each one of them, or if I have written 20 conditions in each one of them, so what will happen? Your system performance will go down. Your system performance will go down because your logic will be keep on here only for some time. If you have written 20 or 30 logic, right? So it will reduce your performance. Whatever your system performance is there, it will reduce it. Now, same thing we can implement using the another condition, another thing. Same, whatever the logic is there, we can execute it using the switch statement, whereas performance is low. It will not take a performance. So same thing we can implement using the switch. Using the switch statement. So switch statement it is provided by the Apex. Apex provides a switch statement which can be used to test whether an expression matches one of the several values and branches accordingly. Several values and branches accordingly. So expression is somewhere it is written, and the values are which is written down. So that means you need not to define your expression every time. Like whatever we are defining here. Maths greater than 40, Hindi greater than or equal to 40. Every time we are defining the expression here. If I have a multiple if condition, then multiple times I have to mention this if condition and I need to cross verify that, right? So here in the switch statement, expression will be on top where the values you will be seeing the values down. So it is basically, we'll see that. So a switch statement can be used to replace the multiple if statements. Switch statement can be used to replace the multiple if statement. It can provide more descriptive way of comparing the values with multiple variants. You can implement a requirement in real time. If I have a requirement, I can implement a requirement with a simple if-else condition. Simple if-else condition, I can implement it. Or I can implement the same requirement using the else if. Or else I can implement same requirement with the nested if. Or else I can implement same requirement with the switch statement. But here, developer has to think. If I have a multiple conditions, if I have a multiple else if conditions, right? If it is a 3 conditions or 4 conditions, then it is fine. I can go with nested if or else if. right? I can go with these two. But if I have a more than 4 conditions, if I have more than 5 conditions, assume that 20 conditions are there, right? More condition, it might come up, right? Usually we see the date. If we have any requirement which is related to the date or number of days, so in those scenarios, we might see more conditions, more if else conditions. In those scenarios, we have to go with the switch. Better go with the switch instead of nested if. Because I'm using the single condition, but I have a more than 10 repeated else if or nested if multiple times. I have the values. I need to write a multiple if else conditions. So instead of that, go with the switch condition. So it's all depending on the developer, how they are implementing a logic. What are the requirement we are getting on it? If you wanted simplification, which way you are going to go for it. So you can choose any of them based on your requirement. Now, switch statement is used to compare the variable expressions value with the various branches. That means here you have a everywhere else if conditions are there, right? Everywhere we have a else if condition. Now, if you execute this first one, if it doesn't match, what will happen? It will execute the else if. That means instead of conditions, what we are saying here is branches. In switch, we say that branches. So if any of the branch value is matching with the expression, then it will execute the associated block of statement. If any of the branch value is not matching with the expression, then it will execute the default block statement. So that means you have a starting point here. Now, what it will happen, it will see the expression. You have to write the expression here. What is the expression here? Expression is maths greater than equal to 40 or physics greater than or equal to 40. So whatever the expression is there, you can write that expression. Now, if this expression you are writing on top, then you have a different branches, branch 1. Now here I'll say that 50, and here I'll say that 30, and here I'll say that 20, here I'll say that n. That means you can write n number of branches, For example, you have here some number. Assume that you have a number here, 10, right? Now here expression equal to 10. Here I'm giving the 5, and here I'm giving the 4, here I am giving the 10, and then finally we have an n number. So this expression, if it is matching with this number, branches will have only values. It will not have a variable here. Branches is only the values. If it is matching this value, so what will happen? It will go for the end of the statement. Whatever the end of the statement is there, it will go. So syntax will be in a switch on. I'm switching on, switch on the expression. You need to write an expression or a value. And then you can say that within this switch on, you have to say, in order to declare the branch, you have to use a when. You need to use when. The variable called, you have to use when. When you have to give the value, you cannot give the variable name here. When value, then execute this. If when value 2, execute this. If when value 3, execute this. If when else, execute these conditions. You are writing the expression on the switch on, then inside that you will have only values. Now, any question on this switch statement? Okay, so let's go with the requirement. Let's take one requirement. Assume.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I have doubt. No?
Yeah.
By using switch statement, we can write that program like season, like
Yes, you
monsoon
can write
season
it.
like that.
Yeah.
And ma'am, why ma'am switch statement is there? Why most of the members are using if else condition?
There is a differences are there. Let me complete this requirement, then we will talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So switch statement. So in the switch statement, so I'll declare one integer value. Let's take a day number equal to 5. Now here I'll say switch on, and then I'll give here day number. Then I'm opening up the loop. I'm opening up the condition. Now within this condition, I'll say that when day number equal to 1, then execute the statement system.debug, which is Monday. I wanted to print the day. And now similarly, if it is a day 2, then it should be Tuesday. If it is day 3, should be Wednesday. Like this, till else condition, I can write it. This is the 2, and this is a 3. If it is a 3, day number equal to 3, then print this. If day number equal to 4, print Thursday. Now you can write multiple like this till the assume that else condition. If none of them are not matching, then else condition, you can say that invalid day. Invalid day number. Now if I pass 7, if I pass a 5, what will happen? It will say invalid because 5 is not there here. First, it will check the condition, but it will not execute. So let me execute this. Integer day 5, execute the highlighted one. Unexpected token. Switch on. Execute the highlighted one. Now, invalid day number because 5 is not matching with any when condition. What are the branch value is there? Right here, branch value is 1 and 2, 3. Branch values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does not have a 5 value. But if I give a somewhere here 3, then what will happen? It will print the Wednesday. It is printing the Wednesday. But okay, so here performance is better. I can see the performance is better, but it has something here. For example, if I have multiple conditions, integer, month number, integer, month number. Okay, if I have a month number, now I need to verify month number combination with the day number. When I wanted to verify month number and the day number, if I execute this highlighted one, what will happen? It will not execute. Basically, switch does not support the multiple condition. Switch does not support the multiple conditions. It can support only single variable. Single condition it will verify. Whereas in the if condition, you can write n number of conditions. Now, whenever you have this scenario, like multiple conditions are there, you can go with this. Now, this switch condition, we use it mostly in the validation rule. Switch condition, we use it in the validation rule because in the validation rule or a formula field, sometimes we use it in the formula field. Okay, there is something called a validation rule, whoever does not know. So validation rule is nothing but while saving the record, if you wanted to cross verify the input value, whatever the user has entered the input value, if you wanted to cross verify, okay, and if they have entered the incorrect value, then show the error message on the page. So in order to implement that, we use a validation rule. So in the validation rule, okay, let's take an example. We have a status, case status. Now, whenever we wanted to verify case status, whatever during the creation of case, if they have selected the status as completed or if status as in progress, apart from the open, if they have selected any of this, then it should throw an error. Only we should allow them to open the case with the status of open. So only it should allow for the open. Now here, how many conditions I am checking? How many variables do I have? I have only one variable. So whenever I have only one variable, and with the one variable, I need to play with the multiple if-else conditions. In those scenario, we use a switch. Now, similarly, in the Apex also, when you wanted to play with a multiple conditions with the one variable, right? Multiple if-else if you wanted to write with the one variable value. That means one variable expression, and you need to write multiple if-else condition. That scenario, we use the switch on. Clear your question?
Yeah, got it.
Ma'am, in validation rule, same pattern of switch statement is work.
Yeah, there is a little bit different here. Okay, so but in Apex, switch is there. Switch is definitely there in the validation also, but the way of the implementation bit different in the validation, and here it is different. So in Apex, this is the way we will write it.
Okay.
Okay, so write an Apex program to print the text based on the grade. So if grade is equal to A, then excellent, C equal to well done. If it is a D, then you have passed. If it is a F, better try again. Default invalid grade. This is a homework 6 for the switch statement. And then switch statement, write an Apex program to create a simple calculator. Now take two variables, define two variables, n1 equal to 10, n2 equal to 30. And take another variable called operator. Take another value called operator. So user is giving the input into the operator. So whenever your operator equal to plus, then it should give you the plus of this, additional of this. When the user mentioned the minus there, then it should give minus of that. Whenever they have mentioned star, it should give the multiplication of that value. Division, it should give the division. So based on the operator, operate value, what are the operate value is there, based on that, it should give you the output. Okay, else operator, what are the operator value is there, that is invalid. So what did we learn so far?
If statement, simple if else, nested if, switch statement.
Right. So today, everything we have focused on the conditional statement. So this is very important conditional statement. It seems like very easy, but you have to practice it more. Whoever is for the first time for the programming, they have to practice it for the more, because we will be using this usually whenever we write our code in the Apex. Yes, Ram Gopal. Do you have any question? Somebody was asking something. Okay. So syntax for if else.
If condition,
If condition, right
curly
statement,
braces,
else, curly braces, right statement.
Else statement.
Else,
How many else statements we will write it in the if else?
one else.
only
One
one.
else.
One
Only one.
else only.
Syntax for else if.
If condition,
If
curly
else.
braces, else if conditions,
Else if condition, multiple
Then-
else if condition.
the final else condition.
Final else.
Multiple else if and
Involved.
final default else condition.
Else.
What is the difference between the if else and switch?
In
To avoid
switch
the
only
nested
one
Performance
variable
issue.
expression having,
And
but
also
if else condition
number of
contain more
conditions.
variable expression.
In if else, we are
Processing.
initializing first. After that, we write the conditions. In switch to expression, we can write first. After that, we can give values.
Okay, yeah. So how do you declare the switch statement?
Switch on expression
Switch on.
value, exclamatory when value 1 statement. When
Right.
to statement.
So that's all for today. Any questions?